Off of tiebreakers here.
Everyone under the age of 21, I don't get it. How are you so good?
I mean, they haven't had their memory start to fade, you know? They're sharper.
I mean, when I was 21, I was pretty good, I guess. Oliver's 19. Austin Collins is like 17 now. What the heck?
Sasser starting things off with Snow-Covered Island. Quick update on opening hand. Sasser on a full 7, Tomajko on a 5.
The mulligans in this matchup, I think, are important just for having reasonable draws. Both players are going to be not looking so much for a raw high amount of resources and more so looking for very specific things that help their draw just develop in the early turns.
Draw and a scry 2 to the top for Sasser. Tomajko opens on Astrolabe and draws a card himself.
Yeah, something like an Emery on turn 1 effectively equates to multiple cards in a single turn. It really undoes some of those mulligans, you know.
Spire Bluff Canal, Goblin Electromancer on turn 2, setting up for possibly having a turn 3 win.
Yeah, this is pretty bad for Oliver. He's going to need some way to clean up this Goblin Electromancer pretty quick, or there's a chance he just loses on turn 3. Your Storm opponent's untapping with one of those mana creatures almost always spells doom. Sometimes you get a turn. Sometimes you get a turn.
Tomajko on turn 2 is going to use a Scalding Tarn, fetching a 19 for Snow-Covered Mountain. See what he can do with 2 mana. Mox Opal.
I see a backup Mox Opal. I think we're going to see Engineering Explosives on 2, float a mana, play another Opal, and then blow up the explosives to take care of the Electromancer. And this is going to buy Oliver at least one more turn, but that's yet another card he's down after a mulligan to 5.
Yeah, bought him some time, but like you said, 2 for 1 himself. And Sasser with a backup mana creature. It's Baral, Chief of Compliance. No third land drop.
No, but Oliver does have another Engineering Explosives and the land to go with it, so he can clean up this Baral as well. That's going to leave Sasser with no mana creature here. So a lot harder for that deck to combo out without a mana creature sticking on the battlefield.
Turn 3, Tomajko will fetch up a Plains to 18. Another Engineered Explosives. This time doesn't have to spend an Opal to use it. Cracks that and passes to Sasser.
So last card in hand is an Astrolabe, so he does have a redraw next turn. But if he just finds like land Urza or even land Paradox Outcome, he's right back in this game even though he's low on resources.
Sleight of hand for Sasser, finds the third land. It's Fiery Islet, goes to 19, using that to cast Merchant Scroll and finds Remand.
Yeah, Merchant Scroll lets him dig for any blue instant. Remand here pretty good against this Urza Ascendancy deck, especially if he gets untapped without anything really threatening on the other side of the battlefield.
Tomajko will cast that Astrolabe you mentioned. Draws a card off of that.
Looks like he's just got a bunch of mana at his disposal, Everflowing Chalice, maybe a Mishra's Bauble picked up. You can let him cycle for next turn, but this turn he's basically done. Might actually want to wait a turn to play the Everflowing Chalice so he gets one more multi-kicker out of it. That extra mana might be worthwhile in some spots later in the game. At the very least, he can look at his top card before making that decision.
So he bobbles himself there and has decided to play the Chalice for 1. Passes and draws for bobble. Sasser will start his turn with the Serum Visions. Draws and scries 2.
Definitely looking for another one of those mana creatures here. If he can get another Baral or another Goblin Electromancer, good chance with him missing some land drops early on that he just has the kill at the ready.
Sasser scries 1 top, 1 bottom, and passes. Tomajko draws for turn. Looks like Mirrodin Besieged, one of the cards in hand.
Yeah, one of the new cards printed from Modern Horizons. Mirrodin Besiege kind of acts like a pseudo Saheeli or Psymaster Thopterist, giving you those tokens whenever you play an artifact, but also acts as a win condition. You know, you can play it with, you know, after you've like looted a bunch and cracked a bunch of Engineering Explosives, and sometimes just use it to draw, discard, and win the game at the end of turn.
Tomajko attempted the Besiege. Sasser remanded it. And now on his turn, plays his 4th land, fetches very quickly. Misty Rainforest puts him to 17 for an island.
Yeah, I cannot imagine that this game is going to go past this turn. As long as Drake has a mana creature here, I think he's rolled up.
Well, there it is. Baral, Chief of Compliance. Third attempt at a mana creature, but immediately gets to start storming off this time. Here's Poetic Ritual.
Yeah, 3 red floating. Second storm. This goes up to 5, and this is where you're seeing the mana creatures are so important because they turn these rituals like Desperate Ritual and Manamorphose and even Pyretic Ritual into effectively dark rituals. You know, the +1 mana ritual effects aren't that potent in Modern, but when you combine it with a cost-reducing effect like Brawl, it becomes a lot easier to understand why it's so good.
2 rituals, Merchant Scroll for Gifts Ungiven with 5 mana floating in a land up. Tomajko's seen this before. This is the scripted, deterministic Gifts Ungiven, finding Past in Flames, 3 rituals, putting yourself in a position where you can flash back the gifts, go find your other Past in Flames, Grape Shot for lethal.
Yeah, if you're a little short on mana, it's not quite deterministic, but once you have a certain amount of mana floating, a Gifts Ungiven with that mana creature in play is just game over.
So players going to sideboard. Sasser now up a game. Sideboard for Sasser, 4 Aria of Flame, 2 Mystical Dispute, 2 Empty the Warrens, 2 Blood Moon, 2 Abrade, 2 Lightning Bolt, and 1 Leyline of Sanctity.
So in this matchup, Drake's going to mostly stay the course. He's going to have a little protection here. I think he's going to bring in Mystical Dispute to go along with those remands to act as a bit of a buffer from the more degenerate things the opponent can do. I don't think you want to go the Empty the Warrens route or the Blood Moon or a Braid or Lightning Bolt. I think you just want a couple of Mystical Disputes to protect yourself from Urza or Paradoxical Outcome.
Sideboard for Tomajko, 3 Galvanic Blast, 3 Mystical Disputes of his own, 3 Oko, Thief of Crowns, 2 Ceremonious Rejection, 2 Disdainful Stroke, a Teferi Time Raveler, and a Weather the Storm.
As you can see, we're seeing a lot of this Mystical Dispute in the sideboards here because it's so good against the Urza Outcome decks. Here you see it in Oliver's Urza Ascendancy deck, mostly for the mirror, but it's still pretty good in this matchup. It comes in, I believe, mostly to counter those 2-mana creatures that do accelerate the gameplay, but it's also quite strong against just the card Gifts Ungiven or winning a fight over remand. Aside from that, I'm not sure how much he wants to dilute his deck with the likes of Galvanic Blast, but personally, I have moved like Jeskai Ascendancy and Emery out of my deck before in order to become a lot more interactive, and I wouldn't be surprised if Oliver does something very similar here.
Getting down to the end of season number 2 here on the SCG Tour, building up to the Invitational coming up at SCGCon Winter. Before that, though, next weekend we're going to have regionals. It's going to be Modern, and we'd like to tell you more about that tournament right now.
Regional Championships return Saturday, October 19th. Each Modern event awards $5,000 and 8 qualifications for the Invitational at SCGCon Winter. The first 200 players to register at each location receive an exclusive playmat and matching token, while the first 100 also receive a second exclusive token. Register today at any of these 11 locations or visit go.starcitygames.com/regionals.
SCG Regionals is next weekend, October 19th. That's Saturday. It is Modern. You can find out all about where you can play at go.starcitygames.com/regionals. If you haven't qualified for the Invitational SCGCon Winter, that's one of your last chances to do it. Drake Sasser will certainly be seeing him at the Invitational. The 24-year-old from Madison, Alabama. 16 Opens played in 2018 with 2 top 8s and a win. 4 top 8s overall. He won a Legacy Open with Grixis Death Shadow once upon a time.
Ooh, that's nice.
Some finals appearance otherwise. I know you made the finals of a Modern Open with Valakut.
Yeah, Drake is just one of the shining faces on the SCG Tour. He's always happy, you know. He's also just a blast to hang out with. We went to a bar the last couple times we were in Dallas because, you know, those are the weekends where he has to fly home on Monday. And those are usually just the most fun nights is when him and that group are around, you know.
For sure. Really fun to hang out with. Drake also somebody who has a lot of thoughts. You got a question, he's got an opinion.
Yeah, also, just follow him on Twitter.
Yeah.
Gate Sasser, I think. Just got a lot of words.
Is it not Viral Drake?
It is Viral Drake, you're right.
Yeah.
But Gate Sasser's way better.
It should be Gate Sasser. I'm going to start calling him Drake the Storm Sasser.
I'm going to start calling him Drake the Gate Sasser.
You're going to keep calling him that.
Oh, yeah. I used to call him Drake the Drake Sasser.
I like that one. Reference to Jake the Snake.
Mm.
Or not.
Not really.
General just rhymery.
Yeah. This is called filling. This is what we're doing. In case that was unclear.
Players were reviewing deck lists and sideboard. Did you get to do that in the top 8 of Opens? Open deck list here.
Yeah, because we, we don't want any unfair advantages. Everyone gets to know all the information. Because if you have a lot more friends than other people, you can just go around and write down every card in your deck.
You can really take a tournament by storm if you have an interesting sideboard plan. I think the sideboard that I was most impressed with this weekend was Autumn Burchett's take on Urza Outcome.
Yep, Oko and Monastery Mentor.
Yeah, they had a wide spread of haymakers. And being aware of that sort of thing is going to make the games more interesting in the top 8 of a tournament.
Yeah, definitely makes sideboarding for the opponent significantly harder. You kind of just stay the course, I think, if you're
right.
If that is your plan. But both players here taking a look. Oliver sends it back immediately, but I think Drake's hand is quite strong. Mana creature, 2 lands, couple rituals, grape shot, and draw spell. What more can you ask for other than like a Gifts Ungiven?
Yeah, that's a really powerful spread.
Maybe a remand?
Taking a look at Sasser's list this weekend, he has 4 Gifts Ungiven. He's also playing 3 Merchant Scrolls. Merchant Scroll is something that we saw when Brawl was first printed in Aether Revolt.
Yep.
It really fell out of favor pretty quickly then, but Sasser's bringing it back.
Yeah, I'm not sure what exactly changed to want those Merchant Scrolls, but it's been pretty good at helping find remand in the right spots. And honestly, with Gifts Ungiven being such an important card in the archetype, it makes a lot of sense why you would just want more redundant copies. I mean, if you have a mana creature in play, it basically becomes a Gifts Ungiven for 5 mana instead of 4. Or, if you're just in a pinch, you can just go get like a remand past turn, hold up remand, and then go off the next turn.
Spoken to Drake a bit about it this weekend. I think a lot of it is that his sideboard plan is not reliant on the graveyard at all. So you don't see him playing pieces of the puzzle anymore. He's playing Aria Flames. So he likes just having high access to Gifts Ungiven.
Unfortunately, you cannot Merchant Scroll for sorceries. Otherwise, you could do the chain of Merchant Scroll for Merchant Scroll for Merchant Scroll, which would be pretty cool with Aria Flame. Now, I did always really like the pieces of the puzzle sideboard plan against the likes of Jund and other discard decks. So it's interesting to see him bring an iteration that doesn't do that. But at the same time, clearly he's had a lot of success with a 4th seed in the tournament, up a game here in the quarterfinals.
Tomajko opened up with a Scalding Tarn, fetched to 19. Island Astrolabe. Sasser just Spirebluff Canal to start. Turn 2 for Tomajko. Looks like Prismatic Vista was the land. Fetches to 18.
I saw Oliver put a Jeskai Ascendancy on the bottom when he originally mulliganed. I'm curious if he has a redundant one in hand. Or if he just doesn't want to go for that plan because he doesn't have access to Emery. Ascendancy is really only a combo in this deck with Emery. Doesn't really do much otherwise.
Sure. Found Stonecover Mountain, and here's Emery. Astrolabe makes that cost 2. He'll mill 4. Engineered Explosives, the only artifact. 3 lands with it. End step, Sasser will opt. Merchant Scroll, the card that he's looking at.
Probably a little too slow. If I'm Drake, I don't know if he brought in like Lightning Bolt or something. Needs to find an answer here to Emery, or there's a chance he just loses next turn to a Jeskai Ascendancy.
Kept on top. Now is drawn for turn. Pluto Delta will be his land. Fetches to 19. He's going to cast Merchant Scroll.
I hope. Does he have a Force Negation in his deck? Because if he doesn't, he's dead. I'm pretty sure he's dead. I saw Oliver Tomajko had a Jeskai Ascendancy in hand. Let's see what you can do, buddy.
Fine was Gifts Ungiven. Yeah, there's no Force Negation in this deck list. Interaction points mostly going to be remand. He has 1 copy of Echoing Truth in the main.
Oh no. He has the Jeskai Ascendancy and he has a Mox Opal, but in order to get the Jeskai Ascendancy on the battlefield, he has to activate Emery, target Engineer Explosives, play it for 0, play Opal, use that to cast Ascendancy, and then doesn't have anything to trigger the Ascendancy.
So you're saying that milling over these 3 lands, you would rather have drawn 1.
Yes, I am saying that.
That's what I heard.
He also needs an artifact that is self-sustaining with Jeskai Ascendancy, something like Mistress Bauble, a second Mox Opal. Oliver is a little short here, and Drake does have an Echoing Truth in hand, so might have a shot here if he goes land, Goblin Electromancer, Echoing Truth on the Emery. Next turn, he can maybe combo off.
So there was the play you outlined. Tomajko had to put a lot of work in to cast the Ascendancy and wasn't able to follow up immediately. Ascendancy is on the battlefield, but Tomajko had to pass. Let's see if Sasser can capitalize.
Yeah, but it's so much worse. Ascendancy is so much worse without Emery on the battlefield because it needs to be able to activate to really get that advantage. So if Sasser here just goes Mana Creature into Echoing Truth to Emery, he's going to be in decent shape unless Oliver randomly has land plus Emery plus Saheeli Sublime Artificer to make a hasted copy.
Well, Sasser's turn was land number 3, Echoing Truth Emery.
I thought he had a Mana Creature.
Yeah, maybe he's hiding it. I do believe I see Goblin Electromancer.
Maybe he is hiding it. Yeah,
maybe he has just a full combo the turn he casts it.
Sure. Well, if he has a full combo the turn he casts it, maybe he just needs one more land. I'm not sure.
Right. Emery redeployed.
That's why.
Mystical Dispute.
That's the one. That's a good reason why.
Yeah, you want to leave that one up, and that worked. Now we're back on Sasser's side. We know about a Gifts Ungiven in hand because of Merchant Scroll.
Turns out all these one-mana counterspells they keep making are pretty good.
Yeah.
Veil Summer just really hammering the black and blue decks. Mystical Dispute really hammering the blue decks.
Sasser will shock to 17, now deploys Goblin Electromancer. Tomajko at the ready with a Galvanic Blast on that one.
Yeah, and that's going to clean it up, and it's going to allow Oliver to loot off the Jeskai Ascendancy if he so chooses.
Sasser, if he really wants it, can Ritual Gifts Ungiven in response. And it looks like he really wants it, because here's Desperate Ritual.
I have your topic. In first place,
all right, here comes Ritual. Here comes Gifts Ungiven. That's going to allow him to dig for some stuff.
In second place, with 20 points.
Ritual.
Facing Road.
Can't get the same one. Different names.
Place third through 9.
So there's one red mana floating here. I can't imagine we're going to see anything happen with that. Sasser's getting the triple Ritual Past in Flames pile.
Not nearly as detrimental without one of those mana creatures, but it does gonna give him 2 cards to work with, and if he draws one of the mana creatures, he could potentially combo off next turn with a little luck. I guess Oliver just does the same thing here, but might actually not give him the Manamorphose because of that free draw. But the mana here, the mana is always the bottleneck for the Storm decks. If you can shut off their mana a little bit, you should almost always try to.
Right, Poetic Ritual, Past in Flames go to hand. Desperate Ritual, Manamorphose to the bin. Tomajko will now resolve that Ascendancy trigger from the Galvanic Blast.
Discards a backup Urza Lord High Artificer, looking for mana here to play the one in his hand. See if he finds it.
Looks like the hand is Urza, Paradoxical Outcome, and some others.
What's really nice that I always forget is that once you make Urza, you get the Card Construct token, and you can tap it for blue. And then whenever you play a non-creature spell, you actually get to untap it and generate an extra blue from the Jeskai Ascendancy.
That's busted.
It's real good.
That's a lot better than putting Noble Hierarch in your Jeskai deck, which we used to see for Jeskai Ascendancy, that sort of thing, the 4-color decks.
Yeah, my favorite is just when people play Dryad Arbor.
Ooh, that is nice.
Yeah.
All right, well, here's Urza. There was land number 3. That plus Mox Hope will cast it. Tomajko will pass.
What was the standard card they used? Was it like Sylvan Awakening or something? Or it's 2 mana, target land becomes a 4/4. Oh, what a draw here.
Baral. We know about some rituals. We know about a Past in Flames in the hand here. Gifts Ungiven's already in the graveyard. This is enough. This is resolving.
Yeah, this game is over. Oliver packs it in. That brawl off the top was sick.
And Drake Sasser. 2-0 victory over Oliver Tomajko. Urza eliminated from the